The Vampire King's Love. Chapter 4. Igor stands at the crest of the lush garden path, gazing at the estate that, at last, feels like more than a fortress of stone and memory. Dawn's light creeps over the horizon, revealing well-tended rose bushes and the gentle sway of tall trees. There is a softness in the air, a respite from the centuries of darkness that clung to these walls. His keen eyes follow Evon as she wanders nearby, running her fingers along the petals of newly blooming flowers. She casts a brief smile in his direction, then looks away, cheeks flushed in a mixture of contentment and wonder. He finds himself smiling too, something he rarely allowed before they broke the curse. They arrived home only days ago, yet the estate already feels different. The emptiness that once lingered in every hall seems to have vanished. Now, he can sense warmth pouring in, as if Evon's presence alone has driven out the shadows. She moves with an easy grace that makes his old fears feel distant, and he realizes she is teaching him what it means to embrace joy. Evon straightens, brushing a strand of hair away from her eyes as she looks out over the garden. Thick vines climb the ancient stone walls of the estate, and she notices how well kept everything is. Adrian, the loyal guard, oversaw much of the renovation during their brief travels. She sees him now, standing by the open gate, bowing his head in quiet respect when her gaze meets his. He acknowledges Igor too with a polite nod. Evon remembers how fierce Adrian had been when they first met, all rigid discipline and stoic composure, but even he seems softer now, relieved that peace has returned. She moves to rejoin Igor on the gravel path, taking his arm with a gentle familiarity that still makes her heart flutter. She can see the subtle differences in him, the ease in his posture, the way he catches her eye, as if to ensure she is truly there. He is more open than before, more present in every moment. She leans her head against his shoulder, taking comfort in the slow, steady rise and fall of his breath. "I can't believe how peaceful it is," she says quietly, letting her voice mingle with the morning birdsong. Before, it always felt like something was lurking. Even the quiet felt heavy. Igor slips his arm around her waist and guides her further down the path. It was. I carried the weight of that darkness with me for so long that I forgot what it felt like to live without it. Evon stops to admire a small stone fountain at the garden center, where water trickles with a soothing rhythm. "I love this place," she says. "I know it was once a symbol of isolation for you, but it feels like home to me now. Thank you for sharing it." He studies her profile. "I never thought anyone could chase away the shadows here. Somehow, you did." They continue walking, passing ivy-covered arches and manicured shrubs. Igor points out a secluded section of the garden enclosed by hedges. "I had Adrian set this area aside for you. I remembered how you mentioned you wanted a quiet place to think or sing or just exist without interruption." Evon's eyes widen as she steps through a small gate. The space is a private nook with a stone bench, potted flowers, and a few musical instruments carefully arranged on stands. She presses her fingertips to her lips, overwhelmed. "You remembered," she whispers. "I did say that, but it was so long ago." He nods, folding his hands behind his back. "I remember every wish you spoke, even in passing." She turns to him, tears glistening in her eyes. "It's perfect. I can already imagine myself here, humming melodies or just daydreaming." Igor steps closer and lifts her chin gently with one hand. His eyes hold a warmth she never used to see. "This home is as much yours as it is mine now. I want you to feel safe, to feel that you truly belong." She swallows hard, nodding. "I do feel it," she confesses. "I never thought I'd say that about any place after my mother died and my father cast me out, but I feel it here." He brushes her cheek with his thumb, and for a moment neither speaks. They simply linger in the hush of the garden, letting the morning sun warm their faces. Then, with a content sigh, she leans into his touch, savoring the moment of closeness. Eventually, they wander back into the estate through one of the side entrances. The corridors are no longer dim and foreboding. Igor has ordered more lanterns placed at regular intervals, and the tall windows are drawn open to admit daylight. Where once the hallways felt like a labyrinth of shadows, now they glow with light. A few members of his staff bustle here and there, carrying linens or polishing the stately wooden furniture. Each bows or curtsies as Igor and Evon pass, though she notices a new ease in their expressions. It's as if they can finally breathe. Evon thinks about how timid she had been when she first arrived, how foreign and intimidating everything seemed. Now, her footsteps glide with purpose, and her gaze no longer darts nervously. The estate is alive with possibility. She can hardly believe how far they've come. They reach a spacious music room, one Igor had allowed to fall into neglect during his centuries of solitude. Now, fresh drapes hang over the windows, and a beautifully polished piano stands in the center. A large harp rests in a corner, while violins and flutes are displayed along the walls. Evon's breath catches in delight. She steps onto the plush carpet, trailing a hand along the piano's glossy surface. "I asked the staff to restore this room," Igor explains, watching her with an indulgent smile. "I know you used to dream of singing professionally. Perhaps this can be a place where you rediscover that dream." She turns to face him. "It already feels like a place of dreams, thank you." He nods, a hint of shyness crossing his features. "May I hear you sing sometime?" A spark lights her eyes. "I would like that, if only to share that part of me with you." They drift closer until he can feel the gentle flutter of her breath against his throat. She rests her hands against his chest, and he dips his head to kiss her. The kiss is tender at first, a soft declaration that they have earned the right to be happy. Then something more potent stirs between them. The feel of her body pressed against him awakens a flood of warmth, and he deepens the kiss, sliding an arm around her waist. She lets out a small sigh of contentment, threading her fingers through his hair. When they break apart, breathless, he rests his forehead against hers. "Tonight," he murmurs, "allow me to plan something special. Will you trust me?" Her lips curve into a smile. "I trust you with my life." He kisses her cheek, lingering a moment before releasing her. "I have a few things to arrange then. I'll find you this evening." Her gaze follows him as he departs, and she feels a pleasant flutter of anticipation. She runs her palms over the piano keys, imagining a melody that captures the warmth building inside her. She can scarcely believe she once thought herself unworthy of such tenderness. As the afternoon unfolds, Evon spends some time exploring the newly restored rooms. She visits the library, where several large windows have been unshuttered. Light pours over ancient texts, revealing dust motes dancing in the still air. She smiles politely at Adrian when he appears in the doorway, carrying a small bundle of letters. Her thoughts briefly flick back to the way Adrian fought at Igor's side, how his unwavering loyalty had saved them more than once. She remembers him stepping between her and danger with measured resolve, never doubting Igor's cause even when things seemed dire. Now, seeing him in the routine act of delivering correspondence, she marvels at how quickly life can shift from battle to calm. She wonders if Adrian too feels the estate's transformation, and if it brings him the same quiet relief. He bows slightly. "My lady, letters from some of the estate's allies. Lord Igor requested they be brought to your attention as well." She raises an eyebrow. "Allies? That's new." Adrian offers a polite nod. "Yes, my lady. The king has initiated contact with certain old acquaintances, possibly to foster peace or new alliances. He wishes you to be aware. We have entered different times, after all." "Thank you, Adrian. Please call me Evon." She sees the hint of a smile at the edges of his stoic features. He bows again and leaves. She sets the letters aside for the moment, sensing that Igor might wish to go over them with her later. She reflects on how remarkable it is that he now includes her in estate matters. Before, she sensed him holding every burden alone, unwilling or unable to share. They have progressed so far that it now feels natural for her to stand at his side. Evening arrives, and with it the sound of soft music drifting through the corridors. Evan follows the melody until she reaches a small, candlelit dining room. Dozens of candles line the mantel and table, their flames casting dancing light across the walls. The table itself is set with fine crystal, a bouquet of flowers at its center. Igor stands at the far end, dressed in a simple but elegant dark coat, appearing both regal and approachable. She steps forward, heart thumping. "You did all this?" He inclines his head. "I thought we deserved a proper celebration of our peace, even if it's just for us." Evan takes a moment to let her gaze wander around the softly lit room. The flicker of candle flames dances over walls that once felt impersonal, but now carry warmth. She notices a subtle arrangement of flowers near a corner cabinet, a cluster of white lilies and soft pink blossoms that seem chosen with her in mind. "I've never seen this room used in such an intimate way," she remarks, running her fingertips over the edge of a linen napkin. "It feels like we're in a different world altogether." Igor nods, lips curving into a thoughtful smile. "I avoided formal dinners unless politics demanded them, but I want you to see every part of this estate, to share in spaces I once sealed off. Now that the curse is gone, it feels like each room can finally breathe." He leads her to the table, pulling out a chair for her. Once she's seated, he takes his place opposite her. A member of the staff arrives with 2 plates of steaming food, bowing before retreating soundlessly. She looks at her plate and giggles softly. "I'm not sure what half of this is, but it smells incredible." Igor's lips curve with amusement. Adrian claims to be skilled in more than just swordplay. He put together a menu inspired by some of the more pleasant tastes I've encountered over the years. They begin to eat, exchanging satisfied murmurs at the flavors. The night air is mild, so the windows have been left open, allowing a gentle breeze to carry the soft chirps of crickets inside. Evan finds herself feeling relaxed, a sense of genuine contentment unfurling in her chest. She asks Igor about the letters, and they discuss the possibility of forging alliances with other vampire clans or even sympathetic human nobles. Each time she offers an idea, he listens attentively, nodding or asking for details. She marvels at this new dynamic, her voice carrying weight in decisions that affect the entire domain. When the plates are cleared, Igor rises and extends a hand toward her. "Come," he says quietly, taking her by the fingertips. She feels a spark in that simple touch. He leads her away from the table to a small open area in the dining room where the rugs have been rolled back, revealing polished floors. A discreet quartet of strings and woodwinds plays softly in one corner, summoning a gentle, romantic melody. She looks up at him, eyes glimmering in the candlelight. "You even arranged for musicians?" He smiles. "I wanted it to be perfect for you." She places her hand on his shoulder while he settles his on her waist. They begin to sway to the quiet music, her gown whispering against the polished floor. In his embrace, she feels cherished, safe. She rests her cheek against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. Every step draws them closer, until they seem to move as one. He murmurs into her ear, "Thank you for staying by my side." She tilts her face up, meeting his eyes. "I would stay forever if you let me." He guides her through a slow turn, never breaking eye contact. "You're free to leave whenever you wish, Evon. I won't hold you captive by force or guilt." She tightens her arms around him. "And if I never want to go?" His voice is low, filled with emotion. "Then you make me the happiest man to ever walk these halls." They share a soft laugh born of relief. The candlelight flickers, illuminating the tenderness in his eyes. She feels the solid strength beneath his elegant exterior, recalling how once she feared his power. Now she revels in it, knowing it holds no threat for her. When the music ends, the musicians slip out discreetly. Igor takes her hand, guiding her toward a set of double doors that open to a wide balcony. The night sky stretches above, moonlight outlining the distant mountains. He steps behind her, sliding his arms around her waist and resting his chin on her shoulder. You once told me about longing for a simple, peaceful life, he says. Did you imagine it could be like this here with me? She turns in his arms to face him, a soft smile on her lips. I never dared imagine anything so wonderful. For most of my life, I didn't believe in such happiness. He presses a gentle kiss to her forehead, and she feels his lips travel to her cheek. She leans into him until their mouths meet in a kiss that speaks of promises fulfilled, and more yet, to come. Her pulse thrums with anticipation. He leads her by the hand down the corridor to their private quarters. She notices the staff have placed fragrant flowers in a vase on the side table, and the bed has been turned down. The flicker of a single lantern illuminates the space, casting shifting shadows on the walls. His eyes search hers. Are you tired, or shall we spend some time together? A gentle heat blooms in her chest. I'd rather not sleep just yet. He inhales, drawing her close until she can feel the beat of his heart. His fingertips trace lightly along her arms. Will you let me love you? She nods, breath hitching. I want that more than anything. They move to the bed, the fabric of her gown rustling as he lifts it slightly, guiding her to lie down with him. She runs her hands over his shoulders, his chest, relishing the warmth of him. He kisses her once, twice, growing bolder as she arches against him. The night draws on as they lose themselves in each other's embrace. The estate's walls seem to cradle their intimacy, no longer a prison but a refuge. Long moments pass in hushed ecstasy, until they lie side by side, hearts still pounding in unison. In the silence that follows, she laughs softly, overwhelmed by the depth of her emotions. He brushes a strand of hair from her face, smiling in a way that reveals his own vulnerability. I never believed I deserved such happiness, he murmurs. She shifts closer, tucking herself under his arm. And yet, here we are. He nods, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. Here we are. Eventually, they drift into a light doze, lulled by the hush of the estate and the warmth of shared bed. Morning finds them still tangled in each other's arms. She stirs first, feeling his chest rise and fall beneath her cheek. Pale sunlight creeps through the curtains, illuminating the lines of his face. She watches him sleep, marveling at how peaceful he looks. His eyes flutter open and he greets her with a gentle smile. Good morning. She can't resist leaning in for a brief kiss. Good morning. Sleep well. He stretches, sliding a hand across her waist. Better than I have in centuries. Her stomach rumbles and she blushes. That means we should find breakfast. He chuckles. I'll have the staff prepare something. Let's eat in the garden and enjoy the early breeze. She stands, running a hand through her hair. A subtle wave of dizziness makes her pause, and she steadies herself with a hand on the mattress. Igor notices instantly. Are you feeling all right? She rubs her temple. Just a bit lightheaded, maybe I woke too quickly. He helps her dress, his touch gentle. They make their way to the garden, where fresh fruit and steaming tea await. Adrian briefly arrives to announce that the surrounding lands remain calm. Evon tries to focus on conversation, ignoring the mild queasiness fluttering in her stomach. When Igor inquires about estate repairs, she offers suggestions. Each time she contributes, his eyes shine with approval, and she feels a surge of pride. Later in the day, she notices small changes in her body, a subtle tenderness, a craving for salt she finds odd. Pressing her palm to her abdomen, she wonders if her imagination is playing tricks on her. The possibility both thrills and unsettles her. Afternoon light filters in as she finds Igor in the library, reading over estate documents. He sets them aside at once. You look thoughtful, he says. She approaches, perching on the edge of the desk. I've been feeling different lately. Maybe more tired, queasy sometimes. Igor, I think I might be with child. He goes very still, then rises to take her hands. Are you certain? She shakes her head. Not completely, but I sense something is changing. His gaze floods with emotion. Evon, if that's true. He can't finish, overwhelmed by the prospect. A tear slips down her cheek. It scares me, but in a wonderful way. He draws her into his arms. We'll face it together. I swear it. She clings to him, tears of relief and hope mingling. After a while, she pulls back, laughing shakily. Should we call a physician? He nods, voice tight with feeling. Yes, if you're ready. She presses a trembling kiss to his lips. Give me a little time to let it sink in. Please. His breath shudders. Of course. They share quiet words about what a child could mean for them. The estate that once echoed with sorrow might soon ring with a new voice. She sees wonder in his eyes, touched by a quiet fear that mirrors her own. Yet their fear no longer paralyzes them. It binds them closer in anticipation. That evening, the staff prepares a light supper. Adrian seems to sense something is different, but asks no questions. Evan retires early, fatigued by the swirl of emotions and her body's subtle signals. Igor follows, concern in his gaze, when she admits to feeling another wave of mild nausea. He sits with her on the edge of the bed, rubbing slow circles on her back. You need rest, he murmurs. I'll stay here if you want me to. She nods, eyes fluttering shut as she leans against him. I'm sorry if I'm worrying you. He presses a gentle kiss to her temple. Never apologize for what you feel. They talk in hushed tones, imagining a future they never dared dream possible. The idea of a child both elates and humbles them. She falls asleep with her fingers laced in his, thoughts drifting to the possibilities ahead. She wakes in the small hours with a sudden surge of queasiness. He steadies her, concern etched on his features, as she breathes through it. It passes quickly, and she manages a shaky smile. He helps her back into bed, cradling her as though she might vanish. Tomorrow, we'll summon someone to confirm, he says softly. She sighs, exhaustion tugging at her eyes. Yes, tomorrow. They slip back into slumber, the dawn light eventually finding them still wrapped in each other's arms. When they rise, the day seems brighter than any before. She can sense his gaze returning often to her abdomen, a tender wonder in his expression. With each passing hour, her conviction grows that she carries new life within her. Later, as the afternoon sun draped golden light across the estate walls, Evan found herself wandering near the old stable yard, a place she had never explored before. It appeared mostly unused, though clean and well-maintained. A pair of large barn doors stood ajar, revealing bales of straw and a few empty stalls once intended for horses. Intrigued, she stepped inside and brushed a thin layer of dust from a wooden beam. She remembered Igor mentioning once that he had rarely kept animals, unwilling to form attachments that might vanish in his immortal span. Yet now, with his curse lifted, she wondered if he might reconsider such things. A stable cat slinked around a corner, meowing softly. Evan bent down to stroke it, smiling at the content purr it offered in return. Footsteps made her glance up, and she saw Adrian approaching. He offered a slight bow, then hesitated, looking around the stable yard as if recalling its past. I cannot remember the last time we truly needed these stalls, he said, voice tinged with nostalgia. The master seldom rode. He preferred to run, as vampires often do, through the forests at night. Evan gave a thoughtful nod. Things are changing, though. Maybe one day we'll fill this stable with something new. Adrian studied her, seeming about to speak, then paused. My lady, if I may, the entire household senses a difference in you and Lord Igor. A peace. Perhaps a new beginning? She felt warmth flood her cheeks. Yes, she said simply. We've found hope. I don't know how else to say it. He inclined his head, a rare smile softening his features. That is good to see. For too long we feared the shadows that haunted these halls. Now it seems they have lifted. Evon patted the cat's head one last time before straightening. Thank you, Adrian, for everything you've done. Igor values your loyalty, and so do I. The guard bowed again. I live to serve. If there is any role I can play in these new times, ensuring your safety, or aiding in whatever future you and Lord Igor build, please call on me. Moved by his sincerity, she placed a hand on his shoulder briefly, an unspoken gesture of gratitude. Then, with a smile, she left the stable yard behind, feeling a renewed sense of belonging. As she walked back toward the manor, she envisioned a day when perhaps a child might run through these grounds, laughing in the sunshine, free from the burdens of ancient curses. The thought swelled in her heart, fueling her determination to embrace every bit of joy that life now offered. In the hush after dusk, Evon joined Igor on a balcony overlooking the western fields. Torches glowed along the walls below, and the sky shimmered with countless stars. He wrapped an arm around her shoulders, drawing her close. "Adrian told me you visited the old stables," Igor said quietly. "I did. It made me think about the future," she replied. "There's so much potential here, so much you never dared to try before." He released a soft sigh. "I always believed attachments would bring pain, especially with my curse. But now, I realize attachments can also bring the greatest joys." She rested her head against his chest. "It's never too late to discover new parts of yourself. If you ever want to keep horses or anything else, we can explore that together." His hand stroked her arm. "Thank you for reminding me that I can still grow, even after centuries." Below them, a cool breeze rustled the tall grass. The soft glow of lanterns outlined the path leading to the main gates. She noticed a pair of guards patrolling, their silhouettes passing in easy conversation. The entire estate seemed to breathe in harmony. Igor's voice was a near whisper. "Evon, would you like to walk with me for a while?" She nodded, heart fluttering. Together they descended the stairs, exiting through a side door into the moonlit courtyard. The cobblestones gleamed faintly, and flowers in large stone urns wafted a sweet fragrance. Hand in hand they ambled through archways and quiet paths, stopping now and then to admire a statue, or to listen to the night's soft music of insects and distant owls. The conversation flowed naturally, full of hushed laughter and recollections of their past struggles. Each time Evon felt the faint twinge of fatigue or queasiness, Igor steadied her, his eyes brimming with concern. She reassured him each time that she was fine, that the feeling would pass. Eventually they reached a small clearing where the estate's outer wall curved. From there, they could see stars reflecting on a distant pond. He drew her into his arms, and they swayed in silence, no music needed. She clung to him, pulse thrumming with love that felt as vast as the night sky. He bent to whisper near her ear, "Whatever happens next, I won't let fear keep me from living, and I won't let anything harm you or our possible child." Her throat tightened at the tremor in his voice. "I know," she whispered, pressing a kiss to his cheek. "I trust you." They lingered there under the stars, hearts beating in unison, neither wanting to break the moment. At length, he guided her back inside, the estate's glow welcoming them with open doors and quiet corridors. She felt a comforting certainty that each step forward was theirs to share, unbound by curses or regrets, guided by hope in what tomorrow might bring.